The day's finally arrived. Your AriaMX is in your lab. I'm going to run through a few of the steps required to unpack, set up, install your AriaMX in your lab, as well as a few of the options available to access and retrieve data off your AriaMX once it's up and running in the lab. The first step is to take the outer box off the top. This reveals setup instructions, which includes an installation disk for your PC, as well as written instructions for everything that I'm going over here today. And optical modules, which are individually packed in electrostatically protected pouches. So now that the Aria is out of its box and on your lab bench, it's time to set it up. First, remove the protective foam and cardboard carrier protectors that keep the housing from moving. Next, we're going to use canned air to dislodge any dust or lint from the hot top or block surfaces. And then finally, give those surfaces a quick wipe with a Kim wipe moistened with water. Now that the Aria is clean of lint or debris, we're going to install the optical modules. Each optical module comes packed in its own electrostatic pouch, and this needs to be removed prior to installation. On each optical module, we have a protective tape that keeps the LED surfaces clean. This needs to be removed as well. To install the optical module in the AriaMX, open the AriaMX, slide the scan cassette to the center of the opening, and slide the Aria optical module vertically and snap into place. We recommend that the FAM channel gets installed on the far right side of the scan cassette. Now that you have all of your optical modules installed, which can be as few as a single optical module or as many as 6 optical modules, it's time to boot up the Aria. We want to close the scan cassette, move it back over to the left, and close the Aria, and move on to the next step, which is to power it up. Remove your power cord from the box supplied with the Aria, and simply plug it into the back of the Aria. Now that we've got power to our Aria, let's turn it on. Down here, we have the on button, which, if things are working correctly, should show a green light. And as soon as the Aria boots up, we'll see that it goes through an onboard diagnostics test. This instrument health check looks at many of the different systems required to generate good data on the Aria. Every time the Aria is powered off and booted up again, it engages in its onboard diagnostic test, which ensures the Aria is functioning properly by testing the optics, the thermal system, and data handling. At the end of the diagnostic onboard health check, we see that the Aria shows an error, and that's simply due to the fact that we have not yet connected the Aria to the network. So this is a normal error for a non-networked Aria. The last step is to calibrate the optical modules. From the Aria touchscreen, we simply go to Settings, System Settings, Background Calibration. Following the on-screen instructions, hit Calibrate, and then prepare the plate that the Aria instructions request. And that's a 96-well plate containing 20 microliters of water. And install this in the Aria block. Close the hop top and the door, then press OK. And the Aria automatically undergoes its own background calibration for the 6 optical modules that we've just installed. Calibration's passed, the Aria is ready to be used. Now that we have our AriaMX set up, let's actually start to use it in what we call standalone mode. For this, we're going to access the plate setup and thermal profiles using the touchscreen under New Experiment. In this example, select Quantitative PCR, select your wells for your standard curve. In this particular case, I'm running a duplex of FAM and hex. The remainder of the plate are unknowns with the same dyes. Next, access the thermal profile tab, make any necessary changes, and hit Run Experiment. The instrument will offer the opportunity to save the experiment, hit OK, give it a name, and hit Save. This way, the instrument will start the run and save the data directly to the hard drive on the Aria. To access the data that we've just generated in the Aria standalone mode, we access it through a USB key on the front of the instrument. On the home screen, go to Saved Experiments. You'll see under the user's name the test we just generated. Hit Copy, browse to the location that you would like to copy it to, in this case the USB key, and select Paste. You've just copied and pasted the data from the Aria to the USB key for downstream analysis on your Windows 7 PC running AriaMX software. The Aria has its own IP address and acts just like a printer might on your network. So by hooking it up via Cat5 cable to your network, this instrument will be available from computers on the network. It's now available to run qPCR experiments that you set up on your PC in your home or your office. As long as you're able to browse to that Aria on the network, you can send experiments to it, as well as access data stored on the instrument. So the last way of installing your Aria is directly through a Cat5 cable to your PC. This is a pretty standard control mode for a demo situation where the Aria is not on a network, but it does give you full access to the software and the ability to browse to an instrument the same way you would in a networked situation. So if you feel like the touchscreen isn't sensitive enough to your fingers, you can calibrate the touchscreen by going to Settings, Calibrate Touch. Simply press and touch the plus sign on the screen, hold until the plus sign moves, and then tap to finish. That calibrates the screen to your touch. Should you be uncomfortable with a touch screen, you can access the Aria through the USB port on the front of the instrument and plug in a mouse to navigate the icons. For more information on the AriaMX and other fine products from Agilent, please visit us on the web at agilent.com.